Officially, ladies and gentlemen, I am Michelle Johnson, and I have the pleasure of being the county administrator here in Charles City County. I would like to introduce my board of supervisors members that are joining us. We have Judy, you're pretty special. You have all the board here this morning. We have Mr. Gilbert Smith, our chairman of the board of supervisors, Mr. Bill Coder, our vice chairman, and Mr. Byron Atkins, our District 3 representative. So we are excited. This is good. So we're excited. We have all the board here this morning. Let's give them a round of applause. So we want to welcome you to the official Richard M. Bowman History Center, which I'm sure all of you have frequented and visited from time to time. But this morning is really, really special because we would not have a history center or a space or all the artifacts that we have without this special lady, Miss Judith Ledbetter. So can we give her a round of applause? I know that almost 20 years ago now, right? Judy came to the county and had an idea that we need to tell Charles City's story. We need to have our history documented for all the families, for what's happened in the community. And so she had an idea to just get started. And if you know Judy, you know she just pulls up her sleeves and just goes to work. And so from an idea to all that we have, this is what her vision has come to full fruition. And over thousands of people have come through to research their genealogy, to research the county, to find something out about the county history. And it's all because of Judy Ledbetter. And so today we want to honor her, which, it came to the Board of Supervisors and we had to pull teeth because Judy doesn't like recognition because she's passionate about it, right? I heard a quote that said, if you love what you do, it's not a job. And truly, Judy loves what she does. She's rallied, volunteers throughout the years, had members, actually had the opportunity to work with Mr. Bowman himself for many, many years, which was a walking historian. And so was able to capture a lot of his information. He remembered everything. He could just tell you about every person that was born. He told me all about how my mom looked when she was a baby. She was like 7 years old. I'm like, wow, okay. But we're truly honored to have Judy lead the way in this effort and have the vision. And so we just want to honor her this morning with some recognition. And so to kick us off this morning, we're going to start off with Mr. Bill Coder to give remarks on behalf of the Board of Supervisors. And then we'll have Mr. Atkins for the other portion of the board. And then Mr. Smith, he's representing the board, but has sat on the History Center Advisory Council for many, many years. He will close us out with remarks, and then we'll do the presentation. Mr. Coder.
Before I get started, I want to say we are here to honor Judy Ledbetter. I'm going to mention a couple other people and talk about one in particular as I go through. But today is the day that we honor her for what she has done. There's a saying out there that I disagree with 100%. It says, behind every successful man, there's a woman. I said that's dead wrong. Beside every successful man, there may be a woman. But in this case today, beside this successful woman, there is a man. And the reason I wanted to talk about David Ledbetter and Judy as a whole for a few minutes is because they both have sacrificed so much for Charles City County. And they've been here almost 40 years. Is that right?
37 this month.
Thank you very much. And I asked Judy, I said, when did you get involved with the History Center? She said, the same year I moved here. So it's been a long, long time. This building would probably not be here today if it were not for this couple. Seriously. They have both sacrificed, and if most people actually knew the sacrifice that they have made to have this building here, it would blow your mind. And so many people don't even have a clue. Both are extremely humble. The only other person I can compare being as humble is Jackie Wallace. And she'll get me for this, but that's okay. In the beginning, I personally clashed with the Ledbetters somewhat when I got on the board.
I'm surprised at that.
Believe it. Who can't love a loud, bald-headed good looking guy like me, right? But it didn't quite work out that way. Believe me, in the beginning, I was not on their Christmas card list. However, over the years, I developed an extremely deep respect for both of them. And I realized that these folks were extremely smart and educated. They're both lawyers. Now, a little bit of humor here. Can you imagine being at the dinner table and a small disagreement break out and you got two lawyers there? Now about Judy Ledbetter. I consider Judy a true public servant of Charles City. So I took the time to look up public servant. I wanted to know the definition of public servant. And it says, well, police officers, firemen, public health officials, including librarians and teachers, and of course, politicians. They are described as public servants. But one thing stood out amongst all these public servants that I looked into. They were paid. They were paid to be public servants. They enjoyed the benefits of employment. They had benefits and they were paid. Judy has worked for decades without pay. She did it with love and passion and because she cares about the history of Charles City. She has fought with the Board of Supervisors. She has worked with the Board of Supervisors, and she has rallied for money, not for her, but money for this building, for this history center. She has taken money out of her own pocket to pay for some of the stuff that you see in this building and in this room. Did you hear what I just said? She has taken money out of her own pocket to get pieces of this collection and all that are in this building. Charles City is indebted to Judy and David Ledbetter. We could not cash the check if we were to write it to Judy for her, the contributions and the value that she has so unselfishly given to this community. The History Center would not be here today if it weren't for her. She's an unpaid, extremely humble public servant. This plaque is a small price to pay for what Charles City has received that she has given, but we'd give it to you in honor of your work and recognize you today. You are the true definition of a public servant. And the Board of Supervisors in Charles City, thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts. One last thing, when this came before the Board of Supervisors, in my 12 years on the board, I've never seen anything have a gentleman's consensus and approval from administration, staff, and everywhere. It was like, we should do this, and it was bang, 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 done. Because that's how much you're loved. Thank you all.
Good morning. I thank you for this opportunity, and I definitely thank you for the opportunity to be on the Board of Supervisors. One of the things I've learned, I had to find a sense of direction in having the opportunity to work with Mr. Kohler. I've dedicated myself to a philosophy of thoughtfulness and mindfulness. I've learned from his past experience, kindness and generosity and gratitude are some things that will always be appreciated by many people. One thing I have to offer, I don't have to go back and read history about Ms. Ledbetter. I actually lived it with her. I can post-date her coming here, and I can distinctly remember her work. I can't give her a time on it, but I was definitely present at the dedication of this historical center. She has done many things to enhance that. She had volunteers that came in regular. She worked towards history development and filling in the gaps. And I thought about her yesterday. I don't look at a lot of TV, but I looked at the History Channel almost 3 hours yesterday. Started off with the Red Wings, then it started off with the 761 Combat Platoon, and it ended with the Buffalo Soldiers. And it discussed those major men and what they went through and left out the history. She does many things, in my opinion, to make sure history is inclusive and not exclusive. So I want to commend her on her efforts, her time, and her energy. And I want to commend the board on taking this day to set aside a moment to dedicate someone who has taken many hours and put in a lot of time for the preservation of history, covering every base possible. So I commend you, I thank you, and I wish you the best for the day.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm very glad to see all of you here in support of Ms. Ledbetter. I don't know if I could call her a walking encyclopedia or what, but and I serve on the advisory commission of the History Center. And we're gonna have our meeting, which is a short meeting, but then she pulled these notes up. Well, I just want to tell you this, I want to tell you that. Well, we're gonna sit here for another hour. But I really enjoyed, you know, her telling the local history. I've learned a whole lot from her. I really enjoyed working with her, and I just have to commend you for the job that you have done. We've talked about history, we've talked about our gardening, we've talked about flowers, we talked about everything, but we had fun. But I'm so glad to see all of you all out here in support of Ms. Ledbetter, because she is a workaholic. And I never have seen anyone stump her on a question of history. I don't care where it's coming from. She don't know the full answer. By the next meeting, you go get it. You will get at least 2 pages of it. but I enjoy working with you, Ms. Ledbetter, and I commend you for the work that you're doing, and just keep up the good work. Thank you all.
At this time, Ms. Ledbetter, we would ask you to come forward, so if you can grab this. I'm clumsy, I don't want to break it. And we will read and present you with the plaque. We honored your request of not having your picture on the plaque, but we felt that this would be a great asset to the archive room, so it'll be hung on this wall as soon as you go in. And it reads, the Charles City County Board of Supervisors on August 21st, 2023 recognizes the infinite support and dedication of Ms. Judith F. Ledbetter for her unwavering and perpetual support to the Richard M. Bowman Center for Local History. She is dedicated to the education of the history of Charles City County and the historical impact the county has made. We thank you for all you have done to ensure history here in Charles City County is never forgotten. August 2023. Your turn.
Well, I'm really truly humbled by this, because this recognition really only belongs in very small part to me. In 1996, Richard Bowman and I arranged to meet with Jackie Wallace, saying we wanted to see a history center created here in the county. And Jackie said to us, well, go create a historical society. Start there. So we did that. Then we came back, we went to the board, and the Board of Supervisors, contrary to the advice of the then county administrator, agreed to create the History Center as a county department staffed entirely by volunteers. Now that represents an extraordinary act of faith to give us space in a county facility, to trust us with the expenditure of county appropriations, and to trust that we would treat the public respectfully, fairly, and enthusiastically. So that's number one who deserves the credit. Number two are all of the volunteers, many of whom have ceased to be able to work here, and a few who've passed away. And in particular, I'd like to recall Jackie Pomeroy, who put in years of serving 2 days a week. Julie Walls, who worked for a good period of time. And Sherry Tyler, who worked for years, 1 day a week, and spent hours of her own time and her own money producing one of our Bibles, 80% Heaven Bound, the history of deaths and burials in Charles City County. And we have here today other volunteers who have put in zillions of hours. Doris Fullwider, who continues to help us out once in a while. Betty Batkins, who typed, I can't tell you how many things, but one of them one of our most valuable resources, which is an index to surnames in every kind of compiled genealogy that we have. To Darlene Giles, who conducted a number of our oral history interviews in the early years and comes to help us once in a while, to Levon Allen, who conducted probably about close to a dozen, well, at least 10 oral history interviews for us after this building was open. And Maxine Alves, who years in the very beginning went up to Washington, D.C. with me and with Doris Parker to copy things from the National Archives and assisted with many of the early oral history interviews and regularly volunteered until she was no longer able to do so. And to Tom Fenton, who survives as a volunteer. Driving all the way from South Richmond, or from Chesterfield County now I guess it is, to come and do his volunteer work here. And the final person or group who deserves credit are the voters of Charles City County, who passed a referendum that gave the board the incentive it needed to build this gorgeous building. And every day that I come in here to volunteer, which is much less now, I am just awed by what this shows about how the county values having a place for people to come, to expand their horizons, and to preserve their history. So I thank you all, but it doesn't just belong to me.
I didn't know I was giving closing remarks. I'm gonna have to do this one off the cuff. This is a glorious day, and I've said that for 12 years I've been on the board. I've seen a lot of glorious days in Charles City, but today is really a glorious day. You deserve much more than we've given today. And to all the volunteers and to everyone, Jackie Wallace, I love you dearly. And you know, you've all played a part. I thank each and every one of you all for being here today, for this deserving lady. And we know it's not enough, but it's what we could do. Thank you so much.
This
Thank
building
you.
is my
Thank you for all. Thank you all for coming.